très évident.
Wow, thank you. That was great. Thank you, Sophie. Sophie is the force of nature, right? Unbelievable. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is all because of you. Thank you. And thank you to your wonderful team, with Justine and everybody that works on the festival, making me feel so comfortable here. Should we give them a round of applause? All right, my darling. So now I'm going to interview you. Tell me a little bit of... Yes.
Ok, so, je vais poser les questions en français, après en anglais, après elle répondra, je l'appelle Kyle, genre c'est mon pote, et ensuite je traduirai. Donc ma première question, elle est compliquée, puis après comme ça on est débarrassé, c'est de savoir qu'il a travaillé avec une multitude de réalisateurs très différents les uns des autres, évidemment David Lynch, Alfonso Cuarón, Paul Verhoeven, Steven Spielberg, Oliver Stone. Et je me suis demandé s'il n'y avait pas un point commun, malgré tout, entre tous ces réalisateurs et sa relation avec eux.
Her French is amazing.
Okay, so first question, the trickiest one, and then we're done.
Very good.
It's about all the directors you've worked with, from David Lynch, of course, to Paul Verhoeven, with my French accent, to Oliver Stone, to Eli Roth, to Alfonso Cuarón. They are very different from each other, but maybe you find something there in common in your relationship with them.
Yes. Yes, I've been really lucky to work with some extraordinary directors. See, that you get old enough and you stay around long enough, and this is what happens if you get lucky. I would say that some of the common threads among these wonderful directors, they have a shared passion for the process, like a joy of the process of creation. So my first two films were with David Lynch, and I witnessed that in him, and almost all of the directors that I've worked with since then, certainly the ones that are known, share that. They also have an extraordinary ability to convey their vision and their ideas and their desires to the actors. Their specificity, they're very intent on what they have to, what they're trying to say, and they're able to impart that knowledge to the actors to help them on that journey. So certainly those two things, or three things, depending on how you parse it. Yeah.
So now, here how you sound in French.
Excellent. Very exciting.
Donc il explique qu'il a été très très chanceux d'avoir rencontré des réalisateurs extraordinaires comme ça, et que quand on vieillit et qu'on reste assez longtemps dans ce métier, c'est une chance qu'on a, c'est de rencontrer ces gens. S'il fallait trouver des points communs en fait entre ces réalisateurs, ce serait leur passion pour le processus de création. Il a commencé donc sa carrière avec deux films avec David Lynch, Juin et Blue Velvet. Et il s'est rendu compte qu'en fait, les autres réalisateurs avec qui il a travaillé avaient les mêmes habilités que David Lynch à communiquer à leurs acteurs leurs idées, leurs visions, leurs désirs, et à les emmener dans un voyage avec eux pour que les films voient le jour. Peut-être qu'on va se mettre un petit slide avec des affiches de films pour qu'on regarde un peu à quoi ressemblait sa filmographie. Don't move. Because I had prepared, yeah, so, yeah, it's a patchwork of some of your movies, but there are so many more.
Wow. I was going to say your French is very good. Very good. Oh yeah, so some of you might, I forgot about that one.
Smell of Success.
Smell of Success, yeah, I don't know that, I think that came out. I just worked again with Ethan and the same director, Michael Almereyda, on Tesla. So we're doing a movie about Nikola Tesla, and Ethan plays Tesla and I play Thomas Edison. So, you know, that's not so bad.
Donc il ne se rappelait pas du tout de ce film, The Smell of Success, que je vous conseille malgré tout. Et il parlait d'Ethan Hawke qui jouait dans Hamlet avec le réalisateur Michael Almereyda, avec qui il tourne actuellement dans un film qui s'appelle Tesla et dans lequel il incarnera Thomas Edison. Alors, quand même, bon là j'en ai pas mis beaucoup des films, mais Kyle MacLachlan, c'est 41 films, 19 séries, plus de 35 ans de carrière, et malgré tout, il affirme que à chaque nouveau rôle, il flippe. et que, comme s'il avait peur en fait de ne pas assurer, alors que bon, je pense qu'on est tous d'accord qu'il assure. So you've done 41 movies.
No, I can't believe you told me that today.
Yeah, I counted. 19 TV series.
That's crazy. How did that
I know.
happen?
Hey, you're good.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm good or I'm just available.
Well,
that's the secret, right? I'm available.
Well, that's everything you've done. It's been more than 35 years since you started in June, and still you say you might be scared starting with a new role.
Yeah,
you might fear of not being good enough or something, which is crazy. How comes?
You know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's a new environment. Every film, every television program, you have a family that you create, and you start off on this journey together, and you get very close very quickly, because you have to work together with everybody, and you're going to be dealing with, you know, emotions, and you know, everyone has a different state of mind when they come to work in the morning, you know, and so we're all creative people, right? So it's you never know kind of what you're gonna come up against. But you're trying to marshal all of this into kind of into one focus. You know, you're trying to create this this film or this television program, and you know, I always hope I'm always gonna do my best and bring my best efforts. But there's this funny thing that creeps in there. It's like, oh, gee, I wonder if I'm gonna remember my lines. I wonder if I'm gonna remember how to act in front of a camera for some reason. And then, of course, after the first take, you're fine. You know, you're like, oh yeah, I remember everything, like riding a bicycle. But yeah, I have this initial sort of little trepidation, nerves, you know, the first day, but we get over that pretty quickly. Yeah.
How do you know you're good?
Well, I don't know if I'm good. I'm, you know, I'm the best they got at the time. So,
Alors effectivement, chaque nouveau projet, c'est un nouvel environnement, et puis c'est surtout une nouvelle famille qu'on se crée. Il va falloir qu'on apprenne à travailler ensemble, on va commencer un voyage ensemble. C'est des métiers très émotionnels, donc il va falloir gérer avec les émotions des gens, et on ne sait jamais dans quel état notre copain, notre collègue, un technicien va arriver le matin, et il va falloir gérer ça. C'est un peu compliqué, et pourtant, tous ces gens avancent ensemble avec un but très précis qui est de créer cette œuvre-là, ensemble, à ce moment précis. Donc il dit qu'il fait du mieux qu'il peut, mais qu'il y a toujours un moment où il se dit « mais est-ce que je vais me souvenir des dialogues? Est-ce que je sais encore travailler devant une caméra ?» Mais bon, c'est une petite angoisse qui finit par s'échapper. There you go.
Perfect. Can we just take a moment and comment on the shoes that she's wearing? Audrey Horne wishes she had shoes like that. That was Audrey Horne 2.0.
I'm so happy to hear that, actually. Je vous propose qu'on se regarde un petit extrait. Shall we watch a clip maybe?
Yeah, you have clips too?
Yeah, sure.
Wow. Hey, Sophie, you've been out of your way. It's incredible. All right, we're ready.
It was a murder. This drug dealer was shot to death and the woman had her legs broken.
Jeffrey.
And these two guys told me that the police would find a huge amount of drugs in a dead dealer's place.
I can't believe what you're finding out. Are you gonna continue with this?
Yeah.
Until when? I mean, what are you gonna do with this stuff?
Well, I don't know.
You're not going back to her apartment?
Yeah.
Jeffrey, why?
I'm seeing something that was always hidden. I'm involved in a mystery. I'm in the middle of a mystery, and it's all secret.
You like mysteries that much?
Yeah.
I was a new child, oh my God.
Vous avez tous reconnu Blue Velvet, évidemment. Cet extrait, en fait, la raison pour laquelle je l'ai choisi, c'est parce qu'on parle de mystère. Et quand on voit la carrière de Ken McDonald, on se rend compte que le mystère, ça a toujours fait partie de ses rôles. Et donc, je me suis demandé s'il prenait chaque film comme un nouveau mystère dans lequel il pourrait se perdre. So the reason why this clip is shown is because I was wondering if, just like Jeffrey Beaumont, you feel like when you start a new movie, it's like a new mystery. You might get lost in, and you have to find your way in. Is it like a mystery to you, a movie?
Yeah, you know, they're like giant puzzles. I love puzzles. So the character to me is about discovering everything I need to know going into this journey. So it starts with the script, and that's my blueprint. And the writer will tell me pretty much everything I need to know. At least I'll get as much as I can from the script to start out with. And I really parse it out, you know, really take it apart. You know, every word is important. And then once I've done that, the machine starts to work, you know. So then I begin to put everything together. When I first started, it was pretty. That was what I did. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten really more intent on it, you know. So there's a real specificity to it. I do think of it. I do approach it that way. And then there's a lot of intuition that goes into it as you begin to, you know, dig into these people and keep asking yourselves what the questions, why, what, how, you know. You just never stop You never stop asking those questions, I don't think. So.
Alors, effectivement, prendre un nouveau rôle, c'est comme un espèce de puzzle géant, et comme il adore les puzzles, et ça tombe bien. Le personnage, c'est quelque chose dans lequel il va se plonger. Évidemment, le premier lien, c'est le scénario, qui va vraiment décrypter, analyser, dans lequel il va se noyer un petit peu. Et puis tout doucement, la machine se met en route, et puis il devient ce personnage, et plus il vieillit, plus il a ce process qu'il applique. Il explique qu'il y a quelque chose de très intuitif, en fait, quand on prend un nouveau rôle, et que, comme un personnage, on va se poser des questions. Pourquoi il fait ça? Comment il fait ça? Qui il est? Et que tout doucement, ça devient, par exemple, Jeffrey Beaumont. Alors, il a commencé sa carrière, comme vous le savez, avec David Lynch, qui est un réalisateur à part, je pense qu'on peut le dire. Et évidemment, on se demande tous à quoi ressemble leur relation de travail. Donc attention, réponse, c'est maintenant. You started your career with David Lynch,
Yes.
who is someone that is very unique.
Yes, I blame
Special.
David.
You blame David.
David's
We
fault.
love David. Thank you.
I love David too.
But I think we all wonder, because he's such a unique person, how do you work with? What is your relationship like? How do you work together?
You know, it's very comfortable. We met for the first time when I came in to meet to play the role of Paul Atreides in the movie Juin, which was way back in 1983, early 83. He says it was late 82, maybe it was late 82, or maybe it was early 83, I don't know. And we just had a real nice connection, very nice conversation, and he just always believed that I could do whatever he asked me to do, I guess. And I just loved he's very down to earth, very, very straightforward. You know, pretty much tells you what he's looking for and what he wants, and doesn't play games, and has a very interesting, obviously a very interesting take on the world. And I really love the worlds that he creates. You know, these environments that was in Blue Velvet and in Twin Peaks, Firewalk. These are all settings that are unusual and compelling, and certainly very different than in real life, certainly, you know what I mean, but also just the world that I grew up in. So it's fun to go and explore in there. It's funny, I was watching the Blue Velvet, sorry, this is getting too long, but I was watching the Blue Velvet clip, and I was noticing that I was also imitating David a little bit in some of the, you know, when he's like, yeah, you know, and that's a lot of David that I was either conscious of, or I don't even know, maybe I was unconscious of at the time, but certainly was sort of channeling a little bit of David Lynch.
Ok. Alors c'est une relation confortable de travail, c'est marrant, c'est pas du tout le mot qui me serait venu à l'esprit. Ils se sont rencontrés donc pour Dune, alors peut-être en 83, peut-être en 82, c'est pas très clair, ils sont pas trop d'accord sur l'année de cette rencontre. En tout cas, il y a une connexion qui s'est créée très vite, il y a une conversation très agréable qui a eu lieu, et ils se rendaient compte que David Lynch croyait en lui, et le pensait capable de faire tout ce dont il avait besoin pour ses films. Il dit que c'est quelqu'un de très simple, de très humble, quelqu'un qui joue pas en fait, qui est conscient en fait du monde dans lequel il vit, et que lui en tant qu'acteur et je pense en tant qu'être humain, il aime les mondes, les univers qu'il crée, que ce soit avec Blue Velvet, que ce soit avec Twin Peaks, soit avec Fire Walk With Me. Effectivement, c'est très différent du monde réel qu'il a connu quand il a grandi, mais c'est très intéressant. Et il disait qu'il se rendait compte en regardant cet extrait de Blue Velvet qu'en jouant de Jeffrey Beaumont, il imitait un petit peu David Lynch, il reprenait un peu ses gimmicks, la façon dont il tenait ses mains, et que ça infusait un peu en lui la personnalité de David Lynch. Et puisqu'on parle de David Lynch, après David Lynch, il y a eu plein d'autres réalisateurs. Et j'imagine que quand on travaille avec David Lynch, qui est sur le lâcher-prise, qui est sur la rêverie et tout, et qu'après on travaille avec Oliver Stone et Paul Verhoeven, c'est pas le même délire. Et qu'il faut réapprendre peut-être ce métier-là, donc on va voir. I was thinking maybe when you work with David Lynch, who is very special, he's all about letting yourself go, intuitive, dreamy, the sets must be kind of special. And then you work with Oliver Stone and Paul Verhoeven and all those Steven Soderbergh who are very different. Do you feel you had to unlearn the David Lynch way to work with them?
Not really. I mean, every director has different expectations. Every director creates a unique atmosphere, filming, as you can imagine. You know, it's not so much that David Lynch's environments are sort of dreamy or otherworldly. They're quite real, and everyone that's working is based in a reality. It's just sometimes it's slightly off kilter a little bit somehow. I've been fortunate in the worlds when I work with David that I am usually the kind of the steadying force through his films. So Jeffrey and Blue Velvet and Cooper, obviously, in Twin Peaks, apart from the most recent season 3, where I had other things to do. But someone, for instance, like Oliver Stone, Oliver likes to create a little chaos on the set, and he's got a very large personality, and so he brings a lot of that personality to bear on the set. So you have to deal with that a little bit, but it's also part of his process. So as an actor, I can either butt heads with that, or I can learn to work with that, and I choose to learn to work with that. That's my way through, right or wrong. But it seems to work. So for The Doors, I basically just tried to stay out of Oliver's point of vision. I tried to stay on the periphery. He said, "Go look, Val Kilmer's over there. Go look at Val. Over here. It's over there." I tried to stay out of the way. Steven Soderbergh, on the other hand, is so precise and aware. I mean, they all are, but he's really precision. And in the film that we did, it was High Flying Bird. We shot that on an iPhone 10. So basically, this is what I was working to. So this is my camera, and he'd have a few of those set up around the set on these little tiny funny tripods, you know, those little ball tripods, like little 3 feet like that. You'd stick it down, and that was one of the cameras. So, and he would press. I remember he would press the start button, and he'd sort of make sure that it was going, and he'd look at us and he said, "Okay," and then he'd walk away. So there I'm like with Andre Holland, and I'm like, I guess he wants us to start. Okay, you go first, you know. And it was sort of like that. It was very, very casual, but it's very specific. Anyway, the point is, every director had his own kind of way of working, and as an actor, I find it. I love to sort of get myself into wherever they are, Alfonso Cuarón, somebody else, you know, and just find my way through how they like to work, and it affects me. It impacts me. It changes the character. I welcome that. I like any kind of contribution like that is welcome for me.
Ok, donc,
Good luck.
it's fine. Donc chaque réalisateur est très différent et installe sa propre atmosphère en fait sur son plateau. Alors contrairement à ce que je disais, parce que je dis n'importe quoi, David Lynch, c'est pas du tout dreamy. Au contraire, c'est très réel. À la limite, on pourrait dire que c'est un peu décalé les tournages avec David Lynch. Alors Kyle a la chance d'être quand même souvent la tête d'affiche des films avec David Lynch, donc il peut filer droit et se concentrer peut-être plus facilement. Alors pour ce qui est d'Oliver Stone, Oliver Stone, il aime bien créer une atmosphère un peu chaotique sur ses plateaux, et en plus il a une très forte personnalité, donc il faut quand même gérer ça, mais ça fait partie de son processus de création et de son talent. Et il explique que sur le tournage de The Doors, par exemple, son petit jeu c'était d'éviter en fait Oliver Stone, de dire « Oh, il y a Val Kilmer, va parler à Val Kilmer, laisse-moi tranquille », et puis du coup de pouvoir...
Did I sound like that one?
Oh, il y a Val Kilmer là-bas.
It sounded good, it's okay.
I'll try to do it that way. Bon bref, va voir Val Kilmer et laisse-moi travailler tranquillement. Donc ça c'est la partie Oliver Stone, et après il y a la partie Soderbergh, qui lui est quelqu'un d'extrêmement précis, d'extrêmement conscient de son tournage. Donc il parlait du film High Flying Bird qu'il a tourné sur un iPhone 10. Donc il expliquait que c'est très particulier en fait de travailler face à un iPhone, et en gros les iPhones étaient posés sur des tripodes, Soderbergh appuyait sur play, et puis il allait se poser, et puis avec André Hollande avec qui il partageait l'affiche, il se disait « Ah, peut-être qu'il veut qu'on s'y mette, passe en premier, moi j'ose pas trop », enfin bon c'était un peu particulier comme façon de faire. Il parle aussi d'Alfonso Cuarón, avec qui il avait fait le pilote de Believe, et qui lui aussi a ses méthodes, mais qu'en tout cas, le fait que chaque réalisateur ait son style et que chaque réalisateur ait sa façon de faire, pour lui c'est un challenge et c'est très intéressant, et c'est ce qu'il aime notamment dans ce métier. Alors.
That was good, and you added a few things in there, I noticed. That's very
Did
good.
I?
My French is impeccable. No.
Alors on va aller faire un tour en avril 1990. Kyle avait déjà joué dans Dune, dans Blue Velvet, dans le film de science-fiction The Hidden, dans Dream Breakers, et quelque chose est arrivé. So, April 1990, you had been in Dune, Blue Velvet, The Hidden, in which you were kind of a FBI agent.
Yeah, I was from another planet.
Exactly. And Dream Breakers, and then something happens. This.
What is it?
This. Donc, Twin Peaks est arrivé.
Is that all we got? Gee.
No.
I'm waiting for the car to drive by.
It's step by step.
Is there a car in this scene?
Kyle s'inquiète que la route n'est pas très grande et que la voiture ne va jamais tenir sur ce petit bout de route. Peut-être la première question à se poser, et je pense que là nous on a tous plein d'images qui viennent de nous exploser dans la tête, c'est quelles images et quelles sensations lui viennent à lui instantanément quand on y pense. What images, feelings, emotions do you have when we say Twin Peaks?
I know, good question. Well, it changed everything, really. It was an extraordinary character, a character of Dale Cooper. I maintain this maybe the best introduction of a character I've ever played into a series or film. The drive up the mountain, talking into the tape recorder, you immediately get a sense of who this character is. So much is revealed in those first few minutes. I remember filming it. It was a one take, and I was on a load jack, so they had the car being towed, and I had to pretend I'm driving, and we had a kind of a short run, so we only had a certain amount of time, so I had to burn through it pretty fast, which was actually good, and get to the end. And there's a lot of talking and digging and doing stuff like this, and David Lynch loves to give me business to do, because he thinks I'm really, really good at this kind of stuff. So he had me with the tape recorder, and he had me with the little book that comes out, and I had to fish for a receipt in my pocket, all this while I'm talking and driving at the same time. But he gets a big kick out of that, so. So I have, I mean, it was a long time ago, so the memories are, they've faded with time a little bit, and they're probably I've got rose-colored glasses around it, but I remember having just a wonderful, wonderful time with it, and recognizing the specialness of it even then. Not knowing how it would be received by the public, but just knowing that we were making something that was interesting and fun and different, just really different for television. So I remember all those, you know, and there were all sorts of emotional dramas going on at the time, you know, personally and within the cast and everything. But really, the overwhelming memories are really of something that was really special.
Stylé.
Yeah.
Alors, il se rappelle très très bien du tournage de cette scène. Alors, il dit qu'évidemment, ça a tout changé dans sa vie, dans sa carrière. Ce personnage de Dale Cooper, Coop, we can say Coop.
Yes, I always say Coop.
Of course. C'est un personnage extraordinaire qui avait une des meilleures introductions qu'on ait pu avoir dans la fiction, parce que c'est vrai qu'il est dans sa voiture, il a son petit tape recorder, il parle à Diane, et en quelques secondes, on comprend qui est ce personnage. Il explique que c'était un trajet qui était très court, la voiture était remorquée, donc il fallait qu'il fasse semblant de conduire, que tout son texte soit dit très vite, et que David Lynch, il s'amusait à lui faire des choses en même temps qu'il avait son dialogue. Donc il y avait dictaphone, il y avait un ticket de caisse parce qu'il avait mangé une super tarte, et en fait ça l'amusait, quoi, David Lynch, de lui faire 50 trucs en même temps, comme s'il n'était pas assez doué en fait. C'est quelque chose qui était très très fort pour lui. Il dit que même si les souvenirs de cette époque tout doucement s'effacent, ça reste une époque merveilleuse. Tout le monde savait sur ce tournage qu'ils étaient en train de faire quelque chose de différent, d'intéressant, quelque chose qui était fun, qui ne ressemblait pas à ce qu'on faisait à la télé à l'époque, et que malgré tous les petits dramas internes du cast sur le tournage, c'était une superbe époque. Et je vous propose qu'on regarde un extrait de Twin Peaks. Maybe you watch Twin Peaks.
Yes, come on.
I've got good news. As the mule wash is going to come back in style. She's my cousin. But doesn't she look almost exactly wash or Palmer?
But it is Laura Palmer. Are you Laura Palmer?
I feel I know but sometimes my arms bend back.
So Mike Anderson, who had little Mike in this, a man from another place, had this ability to speak backwards. I mean, that was him, you know, he obviously played it forwards, but he was able to make it sound almost, I mean, it was uncanny how well he did that. I didn't have to, thank God. And I'm not sure about the makeup on Cooper there. I think I've done it for 25 years. I'm worried. The guy's been out in the sun too long. But anyway, yeah, I mean, when that episode aired on network television, I think people were like, what? The world changed. I think that was when television sort of turned a corner, and people were talking about that for a long time.
Donc il explique que Mike Anderson, qui joue dans cette scène, était capable de vraiment parler à l'envers et de presque faire comme si c'était complètement normal et pas du tout bizarre, mais lui est ravi de ne pas avoir eu besoin de le faire. Bon, une petite remarque sur le maquillage, on sent qu'il y a plus de 25 ans qui sont passés, hein, quand même. Et il rappelle quand même, c'est important, que Twin Peaks était sur une chaîne publique à l'époque, et que quand cet épisode est passé, après 2 épisodes qui avaient l'air plus ou moins normaux, tout le monde s'est dit, mais qu'est-ce qui se passe? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc? Et en gros, la télé a basculé, quoi. Tout a changé grâce à cet extrait. Alors, il se trouve que il a répondu à ma question sans que je la pose, donc c'est magique. Donc, on va regarder un second extrait de Twin Peaks. You answered the questions before I asked it, so that's magical.
Right, really, that is magical.
Yeah, so we can watch it.
We watched again, because was I speaking backwards or was I
No, it was you, because I was going to ask, how did do you imagine people reacted when they saw this after 2 mostly normal episodes?
Yeah, no, that's
And they
people
were like-
were like, suddenly they're like, what did I just see? I think people like collectively just sort of were staring at the television set, so not knowing what to do. I think people who said that to me, they're like, what just happened? So, and they couldn't go back, you know, there's no rewind.
Oui, en plus, il n'y avait pas de retour rapide, donc en plus de se dire, mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc, on ne pouvait pas le revoir pour être sûr qu'on avait bien vu ce qu'on avait vu. So maybe we watch another
Sure,
Twin
so another
Peaks
piece?
clip.
Okay, what else we got here? What are
Uh-huh.
the surprises here?
Harry, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Every day, once a day, give yourself a present. Don't plan it, don't wait for it, just let it happen. It could be a new shirt at the men's store, a cat nap in your office chair, or 2 cups of good, hot, black coffee.
Maybe we could try to see how many people here believe this is a present they gave themselves today.
Ah.
Levez la main si cette soirée c'est le cadeau que vous vous êtes fait aujourd'hui.
I see every hand raised up. That's fantastic.
Donc,
Thank
on va-
you. Thank you. I was just going to say it was so nice to see Mike Onkin as Sheriff Truman, who I just loved working with. You know, Mike, he had sort of the tough side of things because Cooper comes in and sort of knows everything, you know, and Onkin has to be, so he's just slightly one step behind, but he was so gracious and so fun and so nice, and just, you know, Mike Onkin, yeah, kind of a rough boy like this, you know, just, all right, we're gonna do this thing, okay, you know, and he was just a gem, a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Il parlait du shérif Truman qui est pas un rôle facile en fait parce qu'il est là, il est tranquille dans sa ville, Dale Cooper arrive, il sait tout sur tout, il devine tout sur tout, et du coup celui qui était shérif se retrouve à avoir toujours un coup de retard, donc c'est pas évident, et c'est un acteur avec qui il a adoré travailler, et notamment il se souvient très bien de sa voix, et il trouve que c'est quelqu'un d'extrêmement précieux. Et moi j'ai souvent lu que Dale Cooper c'était un mix de David Lynch, de Mark Frost et de Kyle, donc j'aimerais bien savoir quelle partie lui appartient dans ce personnage-là. I've read several times that Dale Cooper is like a kind of a mix of David Lynch, Mark Frost, and you. So which is your part?
Oh. I'm the guy who likes the coffee. Oh man, I do like coffee. You know, it's he is a mix. I mean, he was a creation from both of those guys, and I somehow I don't really know. I just sort of breathed life into him, you know, and he made sense to me. It's funny to watch him here, watch me view him here, because he's one of the uncertainties, let's say, about going forward was whether or not he was old enough to be in this position as an FBI. I was 30, but I looked a little younger, and so they didn't know if we'd really believe him as an FBI agent, and they really liked that idea because that lent credibility to like, is he really an FBI? He doesn't seem to be like from the FBI. Maybe he's not from the FBI. We don't know. You know, he just kind of shows up. So that was something that they really liked. But I don't know. He had so many great lines and so many interesting things. We'll see more. We'll talk more about that.
Alors pour la partie qui le concerne dans ce trio, Kyle représente le côté Dale Cooper qui aime le café. Bon, ça je pense que tout le monde avait compris. Donc effectivement c'est un mix de ces personnalités-là, et quand il a découvert ce rôle, il a senti que en fait ce personnage faisait sens. Il comprenait ce personnage et sa relation au monde. Et il se souvient maintenant en regardant cet extrait qu'à l'époque, lui avait 30 ans, mais qu'il était un peu jeune et que tout le monde se demandait, mais est-ce que les gens vont vraiment croire que Dale Cooper est agent du FBI? Parce que c'est quand même un petit genou. Et évidemment, ça amusait beaucoup David Lynch et Mark Frost de se dire, les gens vont se poser des questions. Et puis, il se rappelle effectivement de la qualité des dialogues et de ce que pouvait raconter Dale Cooper. Alors, bon, je pense que on est tous ici ce soir parce que ça a changé notre vie, Twin Peaks, mais est-ce qu'à l'époque, ils se rendaient compte sur ce plateau qu'ils allaient changer la télévision, qu'ils allaient changer la façon dont on raconte des histoires? Did you realize when you were doing this show that after that, TV would never be the same again? Telling stories would never be the same. You were really changing something, and it's been proven several times.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, well, first of all, we didn't anticipate, no one expected that the show would go beyond the pilot, really. We made this first 2-hour movie of the week, really, for ABC, and had an ending, which was then when ABC decided they should buy 7 more, okay? So they took the ending and they lifted it out and left it at a cliffhanger, and then they put that into a dream sequence in episode 2, I think. So no one figured we'd go forward. We knew we were going to make something interesting. We knew David Lynch on television was going to be groundbreaking, but I don't think we anticipated that it would have the kind of impact that it did. You know, when you're making something, you're working piecemeal, you know, so you have little pieces. So I knew the little pieces that I was doing. I'd read the script, of course, and I kind of imagined what it might be like, but you have no sense really of what it's going to look like when it's all put together, and then you put the music in, and everything gets sort of sequenced out and edited down, and you have something. You have something. You know, you talk about there's the film that they on the script. That's what you write. There's a film that you make, and then there's the film that is edited. So there's 3 films actually, and you never really know if it's going to work. You know, I mean, I knew it was going to work as David, but you don't know what the impact is going to be. So we were all surprised, and in this particular case, we filmed the pilot. They bought 7 more. We filmed those before we ever broadcast. So we were watching stuff that had already been finished, so we weren't able to overlap. In other words, so we weren't filming while the audience was watching until the 2nd season. So we didn't know what to expect, and suddenly there's obviously this incredible explosion, even in 1989, where there's no social media at all. But we were definitely aware of it. There was, you know, everyone was suddenly clamoring for Twin Peaks stuff. I mean, it was insane. But no, not going in. I don't think we had that. We didn't know.
Alors non, effectivement, à l'époque, non seulement il ne réalisait pas ce qu'ils étaient en train de faire, mais surtout il n'était pas du tout prévu que ça aille au-delà du pilote, donc du film de la semaine, qu'on appelle ça, qu'ils avaient fait pour ABC, un film de 2 heures, et puis ABC décide d'acheter 7 épisodes de plus. Donc, en fait, la fin du film qui concluait plus ou moins l'histoire, on la coupe, on la remet ailleurs, comme ça, on peut avoir 7 épisodes. Mais ce qui est intéressant, c'est qu'en fait, les 7 épisodes et le pilote, tout ça a été tourné avant d'être diffusé, ce qui fait que eux, quand ils étaient en train de le fabriquer, n'avaient aucun retour du tout du public, ne savaient pas comment ça allait réagir. Et en plus, effectivement, quand on est comédien, on joue ces scènes, on a le scénario complet, mais bon, on n'a aucune idée de à quoi ça va ressembler, ce truc, une fois que ce sera mis bout à bout. Et puis, il rappelle aussi que ce qu'on lit, c'est un des 3 films ou une des 3 séries que ça va devenir, parce qu'il y a ce qu'il y a sur le papier, après il y a ce qu'on fabrique en plateau, et puis après il y a ce qui est monté, et puis après on rajoute la musique. Donc en fait ce truc se construit au fur et à mesure, mais cela dit, ils se rendaient bien compte à l'époque qu'une fois que la série a commencé à être diffusée, ça a explosé, et que même à ce moment où il n'y avait pas les réseaux sociaux, c'était quelque chose dont on parlait, c'était quelque chose dont les gens parlaient. Donc c'était déjà sorti du petit carcan de l'écran télé. Alors on va revenir évidemment à Twin Peaks, mais bon, on a attendu plus de 25 ans pour avoir la suite, donc je pense qu'on peut attendre 10 minutes pour y revenir, parce que j'aimerais bien revenir un petit peu au cinéma, parce que vous avez dû remarquer en regardant la filmographie de Kyle que en fait c'est un vrai caméléon et qu'on ne sait jamais ce qu'il va nous prendre comme rôle et comment on va le voir. Donc moi j'ai sélectionné un extrait d'un film de 1994 qui m'a scotché. Je ne sais pas si on va voir si vous le connaissez ou pas. I was saying that we will get back to Twin Peaks, but we waited more than 25 years to see it again, so we can wait 10 minutes to go back. And you have there's no way to know what you're going to do next. You can do everything and anything. You have a really rich and deep, diverse career. So I'd like to talk about movies again, and Okay. And I picked a clip of a movie you might not have seen for a while, but that I really adored, and I think you're wonderful in this. So let's watch the clip, and then we'll see what happens.
See what we say. I run screaming for.
Do you want me to stitch that up?
It's okay.
Sure.
Oh,
They took the yard. Son of a bitches took the yard. Are you okay, Ed? I'm hurting you, not Mikey. That's a fact.
You're the ones wearing prison blues now, you understand? Now wait a minute. You keep your mouth talking, and you leave here like him.
Let's go, make a move. Get him out, let's go. Make a move, let's go.
Look at his head.
Cover his face!
Is he dead?
You shut your mouth!
That took me a while to figure out which one was that. That's not the hidden. No, what is it? Was it Twin Peaks when I was on the floor? No. That was a long time ago. That was a movie for HBO called Against the Wall that was directed by the late John Frankenheimer, who was amazing, and Clarence Williams III was in that. Remember him from the Mod Squad? You remember Clarence Williams? And topical because Peggy Lipton, of course, just passed away recently, so sadly. But Clarence was in that. That's where I met Clarence, and was directed by the wonderful, amazing John Frankenheimer. Sam Jackson was in that. Gosh, who else? Oh, Freddie Forrest. Freddie Forrest from Apocalypse Now. Do you remember him? He was the sous chef. He was chef in Apocalypse. And he had one great thing. I don't know if it's appropriate. Anybody under the age of 15 here? No. All right, I'll tell this really quick story because I love this story. So we're filming in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's really hot. And we're filming in the old penitentiary there that's been closed down for not that many years. So it still has the ghosts are still running around. Anyway, so we're out in the yard, and all of us as prison guards are. What you saw was the aftermath of a giant shooting spree. But all the prison guards have been held hostage. The inmates have taken over, and we're all being held hostage. And so we're sitting there in a circle, kind of bemoaning our faith, and I'm playing one of the prison guards. And so we're sitting around, and one of the guys has to break down, you know, and he's like, I gotta get out of here. And so he starts, acting, and I'm like, thank God it's not me. Anyway, so he's like, I gotta get out of here, oh God, if I have to suck the cock of every guard, I have to get out of here, And Freddie Forrest is standing over here. So Freddie's like, he's like Napoleon, kind of at the head of the ship, and we're all scattered around here, and he's looking out like this, and he turns to the guy like this, and he goes, nobody's gonna have to suck anybody's cock. I just love the delivery. He was like, nobody's gonna have to suck anybody's cock. Like this. The guy shuts up. So I'm sitting here, and I'm watching this, and I go like this. I just go. I had to bite the inside of my mouth because I was laughing so hard. I said, I hope to God the camera's not on me right now. He was just so funny. I'll never forget that moment. I just loved it. I love Fred. He was just so special. So special. He had cats that he loved. He had a bunch of cats. What did he call his cats? Mr. Somebody. He had cats. Yeah, he was a character. He's an old timer. I love that. That's my memory of the movie. There you go. How can you forget that? Okay, good luck. Yeah, good luck with that. So that was inappropriate, but hopefully it was fun. So.
Okay. Alors c'est un film HBO qui s'appelle Against the Walls, et pour l'anecdote c'est le film grâce auquel on a eu Oz après parce que ça avait cartonné en fait sur HBO. C'est un film génial, donc là il y avait Claire Williams III, dans lequel il y avait Samuel L. Jackson et Freddie Forrest qui était dans Apocalypse Now. Donc après s'être assuré que personne n'a moins de 15 ans dans cette salle, bon, anecdote, on y va.
You don't have to tell a story, that's right.
I want to.
You want to tell a story,
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
It's my challenge today.
Okay.
Donc, il filmait à Nashville. En fait, ce film raconte l'émeute dans la prison d'Attica. Donc, la scène qu'on vient de voir, tous les prisonniers ont pris possession de la prison et les gardiens deviennent les prisonniers. Ils sont tous assis en rond, il fait super chaud et il faut bien qu'il y ait un des acteurs qui incarne le gardien qui va péter un câble, craquer et avoir envie de partir. Donc, bon, je ne vais pas refaire l'imitation, On est d'accord? De oh, faut qu'on s'en aille. Il a attendu là. Anyway. Et donc ce gardien qui craque dit thank you so much. Dit si je dois sucer tous les prisonniers de cette prison, donc là j'ai évité le gros mot, tous les prisonniers de cette prison, I managed to say it without cock.
Ah, very good.
Et là je le ferai. Et donc là, nous avons notre ami Freddy Forrest qui se lève et qui joue effectivement un peu le gardien, un peu bad guy, le patron des gardiens, et qui lui dit « Personne ne devra sucer personne dans cette prison ». Et là, on a Kyle qui est assis par terre et qui a honte, en fait, qui est comme ça. This is you.
That's very good.
Ouais.
That's a good meet.
Et donc il explique que Freddy Forrest, bon, à part cette phrase, c'est quelqu'un qui adorait beaucoup ses chats. Et voilà. Donc,
I'm here to help. I'm just here to help make your job easier. I want to make your job easy, delightful.
Ok, alors on va essayer de faire un truc un peu plus léger. Bougez pas, on va se mettre une petite slide de photos que vous allez reconnaître assez vite. Let's watch some photographs.
Okay. Photographs.
Yes. Parce que Kyle, il a une grande carrière à la télévision. Il n'a pas attendu que ce soit la mode pour être un acteur de cinéma qui fait des séries. Donc, bon, je vais les citer dans 3 secondes dans la version anglaise de la question, mais la question qu'on se pose quand même, c'est pour un acteur, est-ce qu'on appréhende différemment un rôle en série qu'un rôle au cinéma? So you didn't wait for it to be cool and hype to go to be a movie actor and to go on television. You've always done that.
Yeah, I
so
guess.
we can
yeah.
see Sex and the City is a Good Wife.
Yeah.
We can see Portlandia, of course. How I Met Your Mother. Twin Peaks, of course.
Yeah.
And so the question is, do you feel it's different as an actor when you have to get into the skin of a character you're going to be for one movie or you're going to be for many episodes? Is it different for you?
You know, most of these, well, apart from Sex and the City and Desperate Housewives, I guess, which started out to be just, I was only hired for just a couple of shows, and then it went on and on. But like for The Good Wife, working with Carrie Preston there, that was, I knew it was just going to be a couple episodes, although they did like the dynamic between the two of us. And then of course is the captain with my red pants, with Josh. You know, it's, you know, many actors talk about why they enjoy working in television because of the time you get to spend with the character and the journey that you get to go on with that character. And if the character is interesting and the writers are good, it's wonderful. You really do really get deep inside these guys, and you're able to spend time with them. You know, working on a film, it's the same thing. I mean, you immerse yourself in the character, and you are this character for just a very specific amount of time, and that can be, you know, I mean, I love most of the characters that I've done. I love, not all, but so, and I like being able to be with them for long periods of time. So I cherish the television format where you can really hang with them and get to work through some stuff with them. So it's, you know, I guess they're both good, but I guess I prefer the television model. Yeah.
Donc, alors, il y a deux cas, quoi, on va dire. Il y a Desperate Housewives et Sex and the City où il était embauché pour quelques épisodes et puis ils n'ont pas voulu le laisser partir. Évidemment, on comprend ça. Mais après, les autres séries, le Captain dans How I Met Your Mother, les séries comme Portlandia, c'est des rôles qui viennent beaucoup moins d'épisodes, qui viennent et qui partent. Alors, il sait que les acteurs, souvent, quand ils parlent de leur expérience à la télévision, ils disent que c'est super parce qu'ils peuvent passer du temps dans la peau de ce personnage et que c'est peut-être un peu plus profond, la relation avec les personnages. Mais malgré tout, quand on fait un film, on s'immerge, oui, aussi dans la peau des personnages. Cela dit, alors, on va pas demander lesquels, mais bon, il dit qu'il aime presque tous les rôles qu'il a incarnés et que effectivement, ce qui fait qu'il préfère peut-être quelque part la télévision, c'est qu'il peut les accompagner plus longtemps, il peut vivre avec eux plus longtemps. We're not asking what role we don't like, right?
Ah.
We don't have to.
Trying to remember.
You forgot them, you don't like them. Ok, je vous propose de regarder un petit extrait surprise. Let's watch a surprise clip.
Surprise! Oh gosh, like a birthday.
Hello, Lewis. Oh,
Stay away from her.
why should I stay away from my beautiful wife?
You're Serena Izzard?
Did you like the little maggots falling out of the ear? That was good, right? Yeah.
Vous avez des vieux vers pourris qui tombent de ses oreilles. Ça, c'est un extrait d'un film qui s'appelle The House with Clocks on its Walls, qui est réalisé par Eli Roth. Et en fait, il paraît qu'Eli Roth l'a embauché pour ce rôle après l'avoir vu faire Mr. C dans Twin Peaks The Return. C'est vrai ou faux, attention. I've read that Eli Roth hired you for this role because he saw you doing Mr. C in Twin Peaks. And
Oh.
he thought, hey, what a good villain.
Oh, good. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eli Roth directed this based on a children's book, The House with a Clock in Its Walls, and it was really, really fun. You know, even the makeup. I mean, I was 4 hours in makeup every morning before getting to work, which was challenging. But you know, it's such a challenge, really, and a pleasure to be able to try to even create the reality of somebody who's been dead for a while. I do enjoy that.
Donc, ah ouais, alors donc c'était un personnage vraiment très très fun. En fait, c'est une adaptation d'un bouquin pour enfants, mais vraiment, regardez-le, ce film est génial. Alors, qui nécessitait 4 heures de maquillage tous les matins avant d'aller au travail. Ça, c'était horrible. C'était un grand challenge, mais c'était aussi un grand plaisir d'essayer de créer ce personnage en sachant qu'il est mort depuis des centaines d'années et d'essayer de lui créer une ambiance de réalité quelque part. Mais c'est un tournage qu'il a beaucoup aimé. Du coup, puisqu'apparemment il a été embauché parce qu'il a fait Mr. C, on va regarder Mr. C. Let's watch Mr. C.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Oh boy.
He's really scary.
When was the last time we saw each other, Cooper?
At your house.
That's right. Do you remember that night?
I'll always remember that night.
Same for me. I'll never forget it. Who are you?
I don't know what you mean, Diane.
That's nightmares right there. It's a little scary.
We thought you were nice.
I am nice. Come on, come on. Oh my God. You know that Laura Dern is so amazing in The Return. I think as Diane. I remember when David told me that she was going to be cast. I said, perfect. I said, that's perfect. She's going to be great. And she wanted that. I hadn't seen her for a while. I hadn't been that long, but I hadn't seen her for a while. And she wanted to not see me at all before. Laura's a little bit of method that way. It's great. Anyway, she didn't want to see me in the makeup trailer beforehand or before we shot. So she got in a position, and I was on another part of the soundstage, and so I came in And the reveal of that scene is a kind of a curtain goes up, or a I don't know, like a, yeah, I guess like a curtain goes up or something. And I'm sitting in the chair chained up. And that's her first, I mean, her side first, you know, that's the first time she sees me. So her reaction, she wanted all of her reactions to be real and impactful like that, you know. But I tell you, it was really hard. The hardest part of playing that character was when I was working with Laura or was working with David, because I love them so much that I had to not love them at all, you know. And when you work with someone, and it was really difficult to just shut everything down and not be, you know, available in the kind of actor communication that I like to have, you know, back and forth. He was, he's not a giver, let's say, Mr. C. He takes, as you know. And it was an uncomfortable place for me to be, but absolutely necessary for the role.
Alors bah oui, Laura Dern est extraordinaire dans Twin Peaks The Return, que nous on appelle Twin Peaks saison 3. Et donc il explique que quand David Lynch lui a dit bah, c'est Laura Dern qui va faire Diane, qu'on n'avait toujours pas vu, hein, bien sûr, il s'est dit mais c'est parfait, c'est exactement la personne qu'il faut. Alors il explique qu'avec Laura Dern, il ne s'était pas vu depuis très longtemps et qu'elle a ses méthodes de travail, ses méthodes d'acting, et qu'elle lui avait dit je ne veux pas te voir, je ne veux pas te voir au maquillage, je ne veux pas te voir avant le tournage, ce qui fait une scène géniale parce qu'en fait au moment où le rideau de fer se lève, juste avant ce dialogue, c'était la première fois réellement que Laura Dern revoyait le gentil Kyle MacLachlan en Mr. C, et donc la réaction qu'on voit là, c'est sa vraie réaction. Et il explique aussi que ce qui est très compliqué, bon bah voilà, c'est un personnage cauchemardesque en fait, Mr. C, et que pour l'incarner, quand il était dans des scènes avec Laura Dern ou avec David Lynch, il a fallu qu'il se ferme en fait. Il a fallu qu'il oublie l'amour qu'il avait pour eux, qu'il oublie qu'il était content de les voir et qu'il devienne ce personnage difficile pour pas en sortir, et que c'est quelque chose qu'il n'avait pas trop envie de faire avec ces gens qu'il aimait beaucoup. Ça m'amène à ma dernière question, qui évidemment va être sur Twin Peaks, pour savoir si 25 ans après, je pense que Twin Peaks a à nouveau transformé la télévision pour toujours, mais cette fois-ci il y a les réseaux sociaux et tout ça, donc est-ce qu'il en a conscience? So my last question of course is about Twin Peaks. And now you have social network, and now you have all of this, and Twin Peaks came back and broke everything again, made a revolution again. Now you're aware of that. There's no way you're not.
Yeah.
So how do you feel?
It feels really good because there's, you know, there's a community. There's a community of people who really love Twin Peaks, and they're very, very passionate, and they're very alive and aware and on social media, continuing to talk about and experience the show. Which is really fantastic, and I just say that once again the impact that David Lynch has had on people's lives is profound, and profound. It sounds like I'm talking now, talking. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. He's coming up later. The real one. And I feel like that David inspires people by his creativity and his process for people who have any sort of artistic sense, or even not an artistic sense, but he inspires them to create and to engage and to really embrace this world, you know, and as well as their own creativity. I post on social media a lot about fan creations, you know, drawings and other things that people have done that have been inspired by Twin Peaks. And there's so much creativity, oh my gosh. And people do these drawings and things, and then I like to share them on the site because it's been inspired by Twin Peaks, but really by David, you know, and I think he is that. He inspires me, certainly, and all the actors who work with him, and all his crew and everybody as well. And he does the same for his fans. So it's really about David, for me.
Alors bah oui, ce sentiment en fait de vivre un peu en direct, quoi, l'existence de cette série, c'était formidable parce que ça lui a fait réaliser qu'il y a cette communauté de fans de Twin Peaks qui existait et qui existe toujours, qui est très passionnée, qui est vivante, qui est active sur les réseaux sociaux, que la communauté continue à théoriser, à parler, presque à continuer la série sur les réseaux sociaux, et que l'impact de la série est très fort sur les gens, mais l'impact de David Lynch, évidemment, est très fort sur les gens et sur lui, puisqu'on a eu un petit glissement où il s'est remis à parler comme David, on a vu. Et il explique que David Lynch, c'est quelqu'un qui inspire lui, qui inspire les comédiens, qui inspire ses équipes et qui inspire les fans. Et c'est vrai que si vous suivez Kyle sur Instagram, souvent il met des fan art, des choses créées par les fans. Et ça montre que l'inspiration qui est insufflée par ce réalisateur, elle va absolument partout. Et c'est quelqu'un qui vous engage continuellement à communiquer, à communier avec votre sens artistique. Et qu'en tout cas, pour lui, c'est quelqu'un qui a énormément d'impact dans sa vie. Alors, on va pas tarder à prendre des questions de vous. Mais avant ça, il y a un petit film super qui a été fait pour retracer la carrière de Kyle, et ce serait bien qu'on le regarde. We're gonna watch a clip, and then you're gonna have questions from the audience.
Great, okay, great. Thank you very much, Charlie. Beautiful, beautiful. It sounded really good. It sounded really good.
Bobby, here's how this works. We ask the questions, and you answer the questions that we ask.
Sometimes I feel I've got to run away, I've got to get away from the pain you drive into the heart of me. The love we share seems to go nowhere, and I've lost my light, for I toss and turn, I can't sleep at night. Once I ran to you, now I run from you. This tainted love you've given, I give you all a boy could give you. Take my tears and that's not nearly all. Tainted love, tainted love. Now I know I've got to run away, I've got to get away. You don't really want any more from me to make things right. You need someone to hold you tight, and you think love is to pray, but I'm sorry, I don't pray that way. Tainted love, tainted love, tainted love, tainted love. Touch me, baby, tainted love. Touch me, baby, tainted love. Tainted love. Tainted love.
Damn good coffee. Hot.
That's crazy. Okay. I've got 3 hours. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonsoir, merci d'être présent ce soir, merci d'être aussi sympa. Alors j'avais deux questions, une qui m'est venue juste en regardant l'extrait avec Mr. C, et merci d'avoir proposé cet extrait, savoir si, ça m'a fait penser beaucoup à ce passage dans Lost Highway de David Lynch, qui est mon film préféré, où le personnage appelé Mysteryman demande à Bill Pullman, Fred Madison, s'il se souvient de l'avoir déjà rencontré chez lui dans sa maison. Il dit « We've met before at your house, don't you remember ?» Donc savoir voilà, si c'était une coïncidence, mais avec David Lynch c'est rarement le cas, ou si c'était vraiment assumé. Et une deuxième petite question, alors je crois que tout le monde va se moquer de moi, mais bon, c'est pas grave, j'assume. J'ai acheté une part de tarte à la cerise et c'était pour savoir si je pouvais me permettre de lui offrir. Voilà, c'est tout.
Question 2, which is he brought you a cherry pie, and like so if he can offer it to you.
Of course. That's my little gift for today. It's perfect. I haven't had one yet today, so this is it. Thank you very much. That's very sweet. Very thoughtful. Thank you.
Comme Dale Cooper, il a eu son petit cadeau du jour. So maybe the tricky question now.
Oh, the tricky question. Oh, there's a tricky question. Wait a minute, I got to answer a question for that? Okay, all right.
So it's related to the scene with Diane and Mr. C.
Yes.
Which reminded him of a scene in Lost Highway, where Mr. Human asked Fred Madison, haven't we met before in your house? Do you think it's a coincidence, knowing David?
Knowing David? No. No. There's no coincidences there. Well, I say that, and yet at the same time, during filming, if something would happen in a scene that was unexpected, I don't know. I mean, the thing that comes to mind is we were filming the pilot, actually, of Twin Peaks, and in the room that we were filming, the lights were flickering, the fluorescents were flickering, and David just said he loved that, so let's keep that. And he had one of the actors just make a comment about how the lights weren't working that day, and he was flicking the switch, you know, which then may have inspired him to have a log lady do the clicking of the lights and the other. I mean, everything, if he feels it works within the vibe or the energy of the scene, gets included. But I think there are common themes, imagery that carry through David's work that you can recognize from film to film, television, and he does reuse, or not reuse, but they're there for a reason, I guess.
Alors bon, bah non, avec David Lynch, on est d'accord qu'il n'y a jamais vraiment de coïncidence, et il explique que David Lynch utilise des fois des choses complètement inattendues qui se passent sur un plateau pour l'insérer à la série, au film. Alors là, il parlait de la scène dans le pilote où Dale Cooper arrive, il va falloir aller voir le corps de Laura, et puis la lumière clignote, ne fonctionne pas, c'est quelque chose qui n'était pas prévu. David Lynch trouve ça génial et il dit à un acteur, bon bah toi tu iras vérifier dans la scène si l'interrupteur fonctionne, et puis comme ça justifiera en fait que la lumière ne fonctionne pas et on va le garder. Et c'est peut-être aussi ce qui l'a inspiré à voir la femme à la bûche qui s'amuse aussi avec l'interrupteur quand il y a la grande réunion à la mairie. Et il explique qu'effectivement quand on regarde la carrière de David Lynch, il y a des choses qui se dessinent, il y a une imagerie commune, il y a des idées communes, et que effectivement rien n'est là par hasard.
Hi, Kyle. I don't speak French, by the way. What's your approach? You know, you go home, you study the script, you learn the beats, and then you go to set, you get adjustment. How do you keep the lines fresh, like especially in comedy? You know, like by the 20th take, it's not as funny as the first one. You know?
Well, it's a good question. It's you know, everyone has a different process, and so many things are racing through my brain, I could say. So my approach is that I work and get the lines down dead cold. So they're all pretty much word perfect before I go in. And I, you know, work through scenes and have ideas and have maybe some suggestions or questions for the director that I go through, just a few. You don't want to overburden them, you know, and just ask the questions. And then a lot of times I will, I rely on the other actor. So if they say a line that's to me and they do it slightly differently, or I'll respond in a different way. Or if I even just catch the whiff of a different rhythm or idea, I'll try it. As I've gotten older, and I've done this a lot, and I have gotten more confident, and I just really don't care anymore. I just try stuff. Not crazy, improv stuff, but I'll just try a different way in. I remember working with Ken McMillan, who played the Baron in Dune. He's passed on, but I had an acting class with him, and I'll never forget. He would talk about when he would come on stage, because he did a lot of stage work. When he would come on stage, just before he made his entrance, he would be, maybe engaged with one of the guys working the flies or something like that. He's just talking or talking to the stage manager or somebody, just shooting the shit to say, yeah, all right, hang on, I'll be right back. And he'd walk on stage, right in. And he would carry whatever he had been dealing with this guy right on stage with him. That energy, that attitude was real. He wasn't trying to sit quietly and get himself psyched up into a place, which basically kind of just stymies you. He kept it alive. So I guess what I'm trying to say is he kept his reality alive. Now maybe it wasn't the reality of the character in that moment, but it was reality for him in that moment. And I think he trusted the fact that he knew what he was doing as the actor, as the character, that it would channel properly. But he kept this alive, this breath alive, this energy alive, and just brought it right on stage. So when he came on, it was like people were like, what? Wow, he's already living and breathing in that moment. And so I always sort of think about that when I'm doing something, again and again and again. And hopefully, you don't have a director that's going to beat you to death. That you can get the takes out, fairly 3 to 4 takes. You should be able to deliver it. Any more than that, you're starting to get tired. But if you keep it alive with this, just whatever's happening right in that moment. I do that a lot when I'm working. I'll be fiddling with something, or I'll start something, or I'll, he'll say action, and I'll just, I'll take a minute, and then I'll start, or he'll say action, and I'll jump into something immediately. Just any slight variation that you can bring will give you a different color, a different sense, a different way in.
Alors la question c'était comment...
I'm going on and on.
No, it's fine. We're here for that. La question c'était comment il fait pour que les scripts, il prend son script, il rentre chez lui, mais comment il fait pour qu'au bout de 20 prises ou X prises, il se fatigue pas en fait avec sa ligne de dialogue de keep it fresh, de garder ça frais. Allez, on y va. Donc il explique que tout le monde a un processus différent et que en vieillissant et en prenant confiance, il ose davantage, il teste plus de choses. Il fait des propositions, des suggestions au réalisateur, pas trop parce qu'il ne veut pas ensevelir le réalisateur sous les idées, il ne veut pas l'étouffer, mais en tout cas il ose proposer des choses. Et quand il joue dans une scène, il s'inspire aussi de la personne avec qui il joue. Si l'acteur donne sa ligne de dialogue d'une certaine manière, qui est différente de la prise précédente, il va s'adapter, il va suivre cet exemple-là, et lui-même, son rythme et son ton vont changer. Donc en fait, c'est un échange. Il parle de Ken McMillan qu'il a rencontré sur Dune, avec qui il avait pris une acting class. Et un cours d'acting, quoi. Acting class, bon, très bien. Et il explique que, en fait, ce qu'il faisait, c'était qu'il se mettait sur le bord de la scène avant de jouer sa scène, et puis il papotait avec n'importe qui était dans le coin, un technicien, un ami, quelqu'un, pour se lancer dans une énergie, se lancer dans une émotion. Il invente, et il disait à la personne, ah, attends, faut que j'aille faire ma scène, je reviens, hop, et quand il arrivait sur scène pendant cette classe d'acting, il avait toute l'énergie de son dialogue avec la personne d'avant, il n'arrivait pas vide, c'était pas quelqu'un qui se mettait dans un coin, dans le silence, etc. Donc il était déjà plein, en fait, de l'énergie qu'il avait eue précédemment, donc c'est quelque chose auquel il pense, lui, régulièrement, et qu'il adapte à sa façon. Par exemple, une fois qu'on dit action, parfois il va réagir tout de suite, parfois il va attendre une petite minute, parfois il va réfléchir, et ça lui permet aussi de changer la façon dont il va raconter et incarner la scène.
Well, I believed every word.
I like all the way.
Bonsoir. Donc deux questions pour Kyle. La première, c'est comment il a retrouvé le personnage de Lecter 25 ans après, parce que lui-même, 25 ans se sont écoulés pour lui. Et j'espère qu'ils n'avaient pas passé dans la loge. Et ma deuxième question, elle est un peu plus générale. Je voulais savoir, par analogie avec le vin, dont une planète peut refléter un terroir, quel est le terroir de cinéma de Kyle en fait? Je sais pas si je suis assez clair. Son terroir, enfin de cinéma ou culturel, qu'est-ce qui l'a inspiré en fait?
Voilà. Ok, allez. Alors, deux questions. La première question, c'était, first question was, 25 years later, more than 25 years later, how did you meet again with Dale Cooper? How did you get back with him? And he hopes you didn't really spend those years in the Black Lodge. That's question one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it. I was nervous, actually, to go back to be Cooper, partly because there were about 16 episodes, 16 hours of non-Cooper, you know, so I was like, oh boy. Dougie, I really know. Mr. C, I really know, but how am I going to get, I hope Cooper comes back, you know, geez. So I accepted the fact that it was going to be different. I said, you know, I'm different. You know, I'm older now, and I'm a different person, and I'm going to imagine that Cooper as well. He's had this time. He's, you know, aged, you know, and who knows what his experiences have been, but he's going to be changed. So I just accepted that. I went in and really just followed the script, really, in a way. You know, I was thinking, going back to what we were talking about before with dialogue, I just went with the blueprint of what I had, and I just thought I said I'm Dale Cooper, you know, and that was kind of like it. And I finished the first take, and I was like, I turned to David and I said, is that right? And he's like, it was aces. I said, okay, I guess we found him. I guess he's back. So in a way, he never really left, I guess.
Donc il était nerveux en fait de retrouver ce personnage, d'autant que en fait dans Twin Peaks The Return, on a 16 épisodes avant que Dale Cooper clairement revienne. Il a surtout passé du temps avec Dougie en fait avant ça. Donc il a fallu en fait découvrir un nouveau personnage, et puis quand il est redevenu Dale Cooper, c'était Dale Cooper qui avait vieilli, et il a fallu accepter que ça allait plus être le même Dale Cooper. Il allait falloir se remettre dans sa peau. Alors comme on disait tout à l'heure, il y a le scénario en fait qui aide ça, qui permet ça. Et donc il raconte sa première prise, je ne vais pas imiter David Lynch. Il raconte la première prise où il était Dale Cooper, et il se lance, quoi, il y va, et il demande à David Lynch, ça te va? Et David Lynch went, yeah, Elysees. Et il s'est dit, c'est bon, je ne l'ai pas perdu, il est toujours là. And the second question was a metaphor with wine, in a way, which comes from, I don't have the word, so...
Terroir?
Terroir. Terroir, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, which is sort of the soil.
Exactly. So what is your cinema soil?
Ooh. Limestone. No, you know, it starts with where I'm from, and which is a small town, Eastern Washington. Very typical American childhood, two brothers, loving family, and the freedom to be a kid, you know, sort of sheltered life, and a fairly, as I look back now, I realize a fairly emotional personality, I guess. I didn't display that because that's not what you did, you know, as a guy back at that time. But I felt things very deeply, you know. I just didn't know what to do, how to express them, and so I, you know, just pushed those away. Even through acting training, I did the same thing. And then gradually, as you get older, you start to become more emotional. I guess you cry at anything now. So, but it started with that kind of, you know, sort of wholesome upbringing, I guess. And then the influences of my acting teachers in high school and college,
And then major impact of David Lynch. And it was the combination of his unusual worlds and my kind of grounded in reality journey, or person, I guess, from my upbringing, I guess. It worked, you know, and that's how David and I found each other. And I go back to finding the reality, I guess. I'm accepting the reality of where I'm from, so I work on the reality of my characters very, very intensely. I want to know them, you know, and then I want to honor them really as best I can.
Alors, yeah. Donc tout ça commence quand il était petit, il vient d'une petite ville, Washington, Yakima? Yeah, une petite ville de Yakima. 2 frères, une famille aimante, l'Amérique typique, et la liberté d'être un gamin, quoi. Et il se rendait compte que dans cette famille où il avait le droit de grandir et d'être lui-même et d'être à l'écoute de lui-même, c'était un gamin très très émotif, qui était très à l'écoute de ses émotions, mais qui pourtant ne les exprimait pas forcément, qui les repoussait un petit peu. Et c'est plutôt ses profs de théâtre et d'acting qui l'ont permis en fait de travailler ses émotions. Et évidemment, il y a eu l'impact de David Lynch, qui est, alors tout à l'heure on ne disait pas si irrémixable, mais en tout cas qui est quelqu'un de différent, qui est créé son monde, qui est un peu hors norme. Et en fait, le fait de le rencontrer, elle a l'impression qu'ils se sont trouvés un petit peu tous les deux, et que ça lui a fait un déclic, quoi, que ça l'a libéré. Et ça l'a aussi encouragé à toujours chercher la vérité des personnages qu'il incarne. Il se demande toujours comment il va pouvoir leur faire honneur à ces personnages-là en les rendant vrais. Donc en étant toujours attaché à ses propres émotions et en les écoutant, quoi. Alors, je voudrais juste savoir si on a le temps pour une question de plus, parce que je m'en rends pas compte de l'horaire. Dernière.
Hello, Mister. My friend and I love so much your work. And I will ask my question in French. Vous avez travaillé avec Luca Guadagnino pour le film The Staggering Girl. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous parler de votre expérience sur le tournage de Staggering Girl? Et my friend and I have also a gift for you.
Thank
yes.
you.
Can I?
Yes. Of course.
It's like French Donut.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to get very fat here. Thank you guys, that's very, very kind. You smell fantastic. We're going to have a feast. Wow, thank you.
Un cadeau, ça se mérite. Il y avait une question. There was a question with the gift.
Darn it, thought you'd forget. All right. Yes.
Yes. So you just worked with Luca Guadagnino for The Staggering Girl.
Yes.
In which you play like many men, many different men.
Yeah.
So can you talk a bit about the shooting of the? It's a short, right?
Yeah, I think it's It was a short we filmed in Rome. Almost not quite a year. 9 months ago. September. With Julianne Moore and Mark Keller, and we had just a lovely time. Luca is amazing. First of all, he's he's so Italian, you know. Luca, my darling, you're perfect. It's like that. No, not like that. Not like that. No, I love him. He's a character, and he's great sensitivity. And we filmed in a little. It was like a monastery, I guess, just next to the Forum, and it was a beautiful setting. And so I get up in the morning and I have my coffee and my little Italian pastry, and then I go to work, in Rome. And not so bad. It was just an unusual kind of visual meditation, really, and so a lot of it was sort of feeling our way through the story, and there were just snippets of scenes, really. Julianne Moore, who I worked with, was delightful. She's got a great sense of humor. We laughed a lot, and we just kind of found our way through this the story that sort of crosses time. And Luca was like our kind of our brother leading us along, and I mean it's hard to describe what the experience was like, because it was sort of unusual, and like you sort of just, it's almost like you're capturing pieces of a longer story, and you're only getting a scene here, and then you're getting a scene further down, or like just like photographs that are from various periods of time that you're trying to figure out a way to make sense of, see how they sort of string together, and visually stunning. And he had me play these different men that are in Julien's life, and some are just like fragments, just a moment, just an image, and some actually have more to do. And he was just lovely to work with. He paid me a very nice compliment, something to the effect of like, I am the definition of the
eternal male.
Yeah, the masculine, eternal male. That's what it was. I can't even remember. It was very embarrassing, but it was very nice of him. And I hope to work with him again on something a little more linear. But I really enjoyed the experience. It was very special.
Alors en effet, The Staggering Girl, c'est un court-métrage qui a été présenté à Cannes, d'ailleurs je crois, de Luca Guadagnino, dans lequel Kyle MacLachlan joue plusieurs hommes qui ont traversé la vie de Julianne Moore. Donc il précise que Julianne Moore, c'est une femme à la fois délicieuse et très drôle, et qu'ils ont bien rigolé. Il y avait Martha Keller aussi dans ce film. Ils ont tourné à Rome, donc près d'un monastère, près du forum. Le matin, il se levait, il avait son petit café italien, ses pâtisseries. Enfin bon, c'était pas trop fatigant, enfin, c'était pas trop triste quoi comme tournage. Au niveau du tournage et des images, c'est quelque chose d'assez différent de ce qu'il avait l'habitude. Il en parle comme d'une méditation visuelle avec une émotion très particulière. Et en fait, pour lui, c'est une histoire en fait, qui traverse le temps. Donc, c'est plusieurs hommes qui ont traversé la vie de Julianne Moore sur une longue période. Et il lui a fallu en fait comprendre, capturer qui étaient ces hommes, parfois qui passaient très brièvement, parfois qui pouvaient jouer plus longtemps, et lui-même construire dans sa tête, essayer de comprendre comment ils avaient traversé cette vie, et presque de reconstituer en fait le film pour lui-même. Il explique que le réalisateur expliquait qu'il avait choisi Kyle MacLachlan pour jouer tous ces hommes parce qu'il cherchait l'acteur capable d'incarner ce qu'on pourrait traduire comme le mal universel, Eternal Man, et donc c'était Kyle MacLachlan. Et il espère retravailler avec lui sur un projet peut-être un peu plus linéaire et un petit peu plus simple. Et puis, bah voilà. Hein?